And they have Leland Vidder, formerly of Fox News, on their network. Well, guess what? He had this sister, Tashidi Madia, who is a South African journalist who, let's just say, she had to gut check all the lies this fool was saying. I don't think Vidder's even been to South Africa. He damn sure ain't read nothing about South Africa. So if y'all want to see a fantastic job, and this is all following, of course, the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, coming to the White House and meeting with that idiot Trump, who then showed him some videos that was a lie, some photos that were from the Congo, and all this sort of stuff like that. And he was just straight up lying. And so she had to check Leland, and boy, this was masterful. I don't know.
Welcome to the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you surprised when you saw that?
No, not necessarily. I was amused by the latest gimmick, for sure, but surprised not so much. I think the South African delegation, South African journalists have been talking about it. We knew the president would walk into some sort of trap. It's not surprising. The invite was there. The desire for the conversation to open up the channels between the USA and South Africa are there. South Africa's been trying, by all means, to try and open up the doors again. And so, no one was surprised.
Okay.
Did we expect the lights to be turned off and a visual illustration? No, not that far.
That is the new reality with Donald Trump. The issue here, I think, is an important one about what is actually happening in South Africa. Is it true that white farmers are being killed in South Africa?
It's an interesting way that you've asked that question. I don't think the issue is what's happening in South Africa. I think the issue is what's being peddled about what's happening in South Africa. If you watch today's engagement, let me get to the point first. If you watch that entire engagement, the recognition, the painful recognition, the startling truth of crime in South Africa, violent crime, was actually uttered by everybody there from South Africa. Is it targeted towards a specific group? Is it an ethnic cleansing? That's the question, right? Based on what's been said about South Africa the world over, at least people aligned to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's not a fact.
Okay, so we don't deny that there's a lot of violent crime in South Africa, right?
Across the board.
Seven times the murder rate.
Across the board.
Okay, so the issue is whether or not, I guess, whites are being targeted disproportionately. Is that what you're taking issue with?
No, that would be the claim. The issue is that the claim is falsehood. White people are not being targeted, Leland. Nobody.
So when
crime is experienced by everybody, not just white people.
Was chanting, kill, kill, you have to kill to be part of a revolution, on and on. He was talking about killing blacks or killing whites?
Do you need the context of what that song is? Because you can't take out the context of what that is. That is actually important. It cannot be that he's giving an instruction when that's not the fact. I think we do need to take into consideration the context. What he's chanting is an anti-apartheid song that was sang by leaders in the lead up to apartheid. The back and forth today about that song is whether or not it's relevant in modern day South Africa. Should we still be singing that song? If there's a grouping in the country that feels otherwise.
How can somebody be defending singing a song that's talking about killing other people?
I'm not defending singing the song. I'm saying to you that's the conversation that's
So don't you think white farmers would be scared when they heard that song?
And that's the question that's being put to Julius Malema. I said to you that conversation is happening. It's put to Julius Malema that when you do this, this is what we worry about. But when you look at how long he's been singing the song and whether it correlates with the numbers of farmers under attack, particularly white people, it's not there. People who are being attacked on the farms are farm dwellers and farm workers. That's also a reality that's got to be.
White farmers are not being targeted or white farmers are not being killed, why are so many who have big land holdings willing to give up their entire lives to come to America?
Where are they? Show them to me.
We had them land.
Those 49 people are not farmers. There are plenty of reports from South Africa that many of those are not farmers. Those are chances. Please, again, show me the evidence. Those are people taking an opportunity. America's given them an opportunity.
You're saying
they're not farmers.
I'm just trying to figure this out. You're saying that your president has not in any way targeted whites, even though Elon Musk, who was there, can't get a license for his business.
He was where?
In the Oval Office.
He was in the Oval Office. He's never been to South Africa. When was the last time Elon Musk was in South Africa?
But he can't get.
When was the last time he was in South Africa? His father, Elon Musk's father.
I'm not talking about when he was there.
No, hold on. I want to also make you understand one thing.
The accusation is that many whites cannot get licenses to do business, among them Elon Musk. That's not
so
true
we're
either?
being forced to undermine our transformative laws. We must be okay with the South Africa, with the majority that is denied of their own land, with the majority is deprived of access to economic transformations and means of production. We must be okay and not move the needle in any way to try and fix that. We must be okay with South Africa being labeled the most unequal country in the world and not trying to do anything to rectify that. Because that's what that argument says.
No, but the fact of the
there are laws.
The fact of the matter is
they must be bent for an individual.
No, they must.
That is what the question is.
But if you make laws that target a certain race, don't.
But there are none of those. Where are those, Leland? You're calling me as a journalist from South Africa, and you're putting those to me. I'm asking you for the proof. Donald Trump today. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to lecture a little bit. Donald Trump today called us in there, saying he's got proof of a genocide. South Africa's gone to the ICJ saying that they believe
Israel
is committing
the ICJ is a whole other thing. They're the same ones who support Hamas.
But they put evidence on the table.
So does South Africa.
They put evidence on the table.
South Africa supports
Hamas. It's not proof of genocide.
Yes, it is.
A private monument with fake crosses and not actual grave sites is not proof of a genocide. Okay. I don't believe that I'm being called in here to defend the indefensible. Those things aren't facts.
Okay.
Donald Trump did not put facts on the table.
You say that. We obviously have the president. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
That sister, if you work on Leland Vidder's show, if you are an executive at NewsNation, you should be utterly embarrassed by what you witnessed. They had no clue. These people are leaving large amounts of land. No, they're not. Well, we had them at the airport. Who are they? No facts, no nothing. That's the sheer stupidity of mainstream white media, Avis.
Well, I don't believe it's stupidity. I think it is intentional misdirection and redirection. What I find very interesting is that all of this concern about this myth of white genocide and the fact that you have a president who has basically said, if you are of color, the doors are closed. I don't care what's happening in your country. I don't care if your life is in danger. I don't care if you're facing famine, war-torn situations. You can't come here. But these unknown white folk who benefited from damn near half a century of apartheid get to come here. Sight unseen, proof not necessary. They get to come here. And what I find interesting is during apartheid, this country did not give that open door, that place of receipt in terms of allowing people to escape real murder, oppression, unlawful imprisonment. They didn't provide that to Black South Africans who were being oppressed by the white Afrikaners. And so the fact that you have NewsNation doing this, which tries to prop itself up as a journalistic enterprise, tells me that it's nothing more than a propaganda engine, not too far removed from Fox News. If they didn't at least do their due diligence to determine the basic facts, that was brought out in that interview.
All it was, Mustafa was like, well, Trump said this here. I mean, that's how that idiot Scott Jennings sounded on CNN when he was like, well, farmers are being killed. And Abby Phillip goes, how many? Well, several. Name them. He couldn't. Okay. So they're just sitting there. They're like, well, I don't trust the word of the South African government. We don't trust your lying ass or Trump.
Right. Or the United Nations or our intelligence folks. There are plenty of folks, I'm sure, who have shared with them that there is no white genocide happening in South Africa. Let's say it again so everybody understands there is no genocide happening in South Africa to white folks. And because, so there's two different dynamics that are here. One, either though the president has received terrible information and whoever gave it to him should be fired, or he intentionally is lying to the American people. I'll let folks decide for themselves which one of those is the dynamic. If he truly wanted to talk about South Africa, as Doc was just talking about, you would understand that through the history, whether it's the Sharpeville massacre that went on, Black folks are the ones that were being killed there. or the Soweto uprisings. It was Black folks that were being killed underneath of the apartheid government that was going on there. Or you went to the townships or other locations where there were people who were being killed, or Stephen Biko, who was killed as well. So we can go through a laundry list of massacres that have happened in South Africa underneath of an oppressive regime. So if he truly wanted to talk about the fullness of what has happened there and wanted to actually be someone who helps the healing, then he shouldn't tell things that are untrue or things that are just straight out lies. So I'll let folks figure out for themselves which one that they feel is going on there. But, you know, everybody has a responsibility also, because when somebody insults your intelligence and you continue to allow them to do that day after day after day, then it also says something about the individuals who continue to receive that information and trust that information and therefore don't act on the things that actually need to happen. So I appreciate the reporter who made sure that she shared what the truth is. And she actually gave, you know, a great example about how you don't let people pull you away from sort of the anchoring of the facts, because that's what the other individual is trying to continually do.
Cameron?
Yeah, I applaud her coming to the table with facts, but I would argue that NewsNation, and they throw that word news in their title, given that they have no journalistic standards or even adherence to the truth or facts. NewsNation is kind of reveling in this right now because everybody talking about it gets more eyeballs there. They have an agenda. It's very clear. I won't let people figure it out for themselves. There is no genocide happening in South Africa, and NewsNation is peddling these, like I said, these falsehoods, or at least these false premises. It feels that, and how he responded and looked to pivot and go back to either the Trump talking points. Elon Musk was there, implying he was in South Africa. No, Elon Musk was in the Oval Office. I think this entire story and this entire falsehood and farce is probably just a byproduct of Elon Musk, who's a former South African or originally from South Africa, kind of looking and bringing something to Trump's attention that, with all his support, he's been focused on trying to get Trump to rectify there. But it kind of disgusted me with the NewsNation report there. But
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.